Hello gamers and welcome back. I'm Rob, of course, or Warshak if you want to call me by my in-game name. We've got some new cards to talk about in Hearthstone's upcoming expansion. A lot of these guys are pretty exciting, and I'm looking forward to what this expansion has to bring in regards to kind of mixing things up. The last expansion was decent, but unfortunately, it didn't make as many new archetypes and new kinds of decks as I would have hoped. So with this one, hopefully, it shakes some things up a little bit. This is one of the first cards that they had talked about on the stream today. Brian Kibler and another developer, I think he was, they actually went into some good detail about each card and like kind of where it originated from, and it was pretty insightful and it was good stuff. So Branching Paths, it's a 4-mana druid card. Choose 2, draw a card, give your minions +1 attack, and gain 6 armor. So you choose 2 out of the 3, and I believe they did say that you can pick the same 2. So I really like this spell a lot. I've been mentioning this a little bit in Hearthstone for a while now, is the fact that, like, when you have a card, and let's say you're playing an early game card, a mid-range card, or a late game card, that card has one use and one use only, and it's only good at that particular time during the game. But when you can add cards like this in the game where the mana cost is, let's say, is stagnant, but the ability it does, like at the beginning of the game, maybe drawing a card is worth more than the attack because you don't want to worry about the attack because that's later on in the game when you can, have a decent amount of minions on the board. Or let's say you're playing against an aggro deck and, you don't need to draw cards, you just need to survive. So now you have the ability to gain armor instead. Or you do the combination of draw a card and gain armor, depending on your situation. So cards like this, I really like. I think this is actually going to be a pretty good card. It also goes in the 4-mana slot, which goes into for swipe. So some druids, they've actually cut out one swipe. I really like swipe, but this kind of competes with swipe. It takes up the same mana cost, and the variety is what I really like. Having the ability to kind of pick and choose has always been a trait of the druid, and this just continues on from that. I like the card a lot, and I think it might be played. Moving to the next one. So this is a rogue card, and more specifically a rogue secret, cheat death. So when a friendly minion dies, return it to your hand. It costs 2 or less. Very similar to Shadow Step, but instead, you play a secret, your opponent kills the monster, you get it back. 2 or less. Reducing the cost of minions and spells has always been a really big part of Rogue, as they're very combo oriented, and being able to play a variety of different cards for that low price, and being able to make combinations that wouldn't normally be possible. Possible has always been something that's been very heavily kind of pushed at as the rogue type. So this follows right along with that, but rogue secrets, right? Like, so rogue is supposed to be a sneaky class, very stealth, and then you look at like mages, and mages are spell heavy and stuff, but hunters, that secrets make sense. Mages kind of make sense. Rogue definitely makes sense. Like, rogue should have always had secrets. And then you look at paladin. Why do paladins have secrets? Paladins aren't sneaky. They're supposed to be holy, righteous protectors. They're not sneaking around. You know what I mean? You don't see a paladin sneaking through the bush. They're just not sneaky people. But rogues are very sneaky people. So I think having secrets as a rogue was something that should have been done, like, from the start. It should have been like part of the identity of a rogue. So it's weird that they're kind of introducing it now, and the fact that secrets will eventually rotate. So are they going to keep now printing rogue secrets, so there always are going to be rogue secrets inside of the rogue identity? Or is this kind of just for the next 2 years, rogues are going to have secrets, they're going to see how it is. If it works out, they're going to keep going. If it doesn't, obviously they would discontinue the secrets. But it's actually not a bad secret by any means. They're not gonna, the thing is, like, when you play a minion that they're not gonna want to kill but has high threat priority, they're gonna be like, all right, well, is that cheat death? Are they gonna make this minion come back to their hand like an auctioneer? It's now gonna cost 2 less, or do we leave the card alive and hopefully they don't have, the combo stuff to go with alongside the card? So the next card we're going to talk about is Sudden Betrayal, another rogue secret. So currently we have 2 rogue secrets that have been released to us, a 2-mana secret. So it's going under the same hunter price of secrets. Mages cost 3, rogues and hunters now cost 2, and then paladins have cost 1 because normally they have sucked, but now hydrologists made them good, but that's besides the point. When your minion attacks your hero, so we're talking like misdirection style, instead it attacks one of its neighbors. So positioning is now going to be very important, very similar. I like Sudden Betrayal, and then also the spell Betrayal attacks the minions next to it. So they kind of have, like, they both say Betrayal, and they both do relatively kind of the same thing. So there's a lot of consistency there, and I like it. I don't know how good this is going to be, because it's pretty easy to play around. Like, this isn't one of those, like, if you have two giant minions next to each other, right, and you can't seem to, like, put something in the middle or attack with, like, a lower cost minion first, then this card is going to be pretty annoying. Plus the fact that these two secrets are so drastically different, it's going to be really hard to play around them. So, like, with the Hunter secrets, you can kind of pick and choose which one you think, and there's so many Hunter secrets and you kind of all know what they do. But these rogue secrets are going to be a little bit interesting because they're pretty powerful if you don't play around them. Like, let's say you have two giant minions next to each other and you're like, shit, is this a sudden betrayal? And if you attack with one large minion and attacks the other one, they just got a 2-for-1 for 2 mana. They killed both your giant minions. That's craziness, and you probably paid much more than 2 mana for them. So it's going to be one of these cards where if it works out, it's going to work out really nice. But when it doesn't work out, it's going to kind of suck because they're going to attack with like patches, right? And then that won't really do anything. You spent 2 mana to kill patches. But either way, I think this card is going to go 1-for-1 for the most part, unless like the board is just not that favorable. Yeah, I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's like the best secret ever, but I don't think this is that bad at all. Actually, it might even be it's probably, yeah. I think both these secrets are really good, and I think both these secrets are good and will see play in a particular rogue deck. Duskbreaker. I like this picture a lot. It's a cool picture. 4 mana, 3/3 dragon, so pretty understated for 4 mana. Normally 4 mana, we're looking at 4/5s, 5/4s, so we're missing basically out on 3 stats. So Battle Cry, if you're holding a dragon, which has always been sort of the kind of dragon requirements, is you having a dragon in hand. He is a dragon, so he also counts as a dragon himself. Deal 3 damage to all other minions. So he's a 4 mana, basically board clear for dragon decks. And what's cool about this card is that you wouldn't really play him in a tempo dragon deck. Most of the dragon decks currently are very, I don't want to say aggressive, but they're faster dragon decks. There's no control dragon priest floating around in the meta. There used to be something like that, but right now there's not. You see Scalebane, Operative, and it kind of that's the tippy top of the dragon curve. And then maybe you would like Netherspite Historian into like Ysera or Primordial Drake or like, you know, Malagos, whatever the case may be. But you wouldn't really play those in the deck. So when you have cards like Duskbreaker in your deck, you're not really committing to being aggressive in the early game, because if you happen to draw the Duskbreaker and you want to play him, you're going to end up killing your own minions, because he doesn't say deal 3 damage to all other non-dragons. It's just everything's taken 3. So this is kind of like, instead of you having to worry about making sure you draw on turn 6 Dragonfire Potion, you kind of have like a Alkanized Soul Priest Circle of Healing on turn 4 in a dragon package, which I think is really cool. So this is pushing more of a basically control dragon style deck. And as for me as a control player, I like control decks. It's for the cost of this card and its ability, plus it's a dragon, this is a really good card. Like, this is a 2 of in every single control dragon deck that you'd ever want to build, for sure. Definitely a frisky dingo. This next card is basically the Karibo of Hearthstone. So it's a 1 mana 1/1 Feral Gibberler. After this minion attacks a hero, add a copy of it to your hand. So I for some reason I was thinking about this card a little bit, and at first you're just like, it's a 1 mana 1/1, it's whatever, its ability is kind of subpar, it doesn't actually do anything. In most 1 mana cards you compare this to like Firefly, it doesn't even come close, right? Firefly is a 1 mana 1/2 elemental, and it puts a 1 mana 1/2 back into your hand, and you basically for 1 mana get 2/4 worths of stats. So this card, I was thinking about it, I'm like, all right, well, what if like a super aggro deck plays it and they make contact with it 1 time phase, then they get another one, right? So they automatically generated a card that your opponent's gonna have to, if you like, let's say you're a mage or a druid, you have to spend 2 mana to kill it. So you're spending 2 mana for your 1 mana that you've spent. So you already have like a mana deficit there of you gaining 1. Plus, let's say you generated 1, so you already back up another guy. I actually don't think this is as bad as what it looks. I don't think it's really good. But you know, this, like, let's say you're playing an aggro deck and you just can't seem to kill this. Let's say you're a warrior, you know, and you can't seem to, you're not gonna just use Whirlwind on 1 card. And if you do, that's pretty good. You Whirlwind just a 1/1. So I think, you know, in some decks, this actually can be quite a meme. And especially if we look in Wild Hobgoblin, like you play this card and it becomes a 3/3 that's going to make another one to your hand. And then you get to play it again and Hobgoblin's going to buff that. So like in a Hobgoblin deck, this guy's fucking disgusting. This guy is a mastermind in the Hobgoblin deck. Karibo is coming at you live. But besides that, I don't think he's going to be like super competitive, but he's still it's a cool card, cool design, and I don't think it's completely useless. The next card is going to be Savannah Highmane, the only and true Hunter legendary minion. Now, we've got the 8 mana, 6/6. The stats suck ass for this card, but that's not bad because we don't want every 8 mana card to have crazy good stats and be an auto include into every deck. When you pay a premium like this, you're looking for, you don't want to just keep paying for the stats of a minion, because then we just have a minion heavy board and deck, and then the minions are attacking each other. We've seen that enough with Zoo. So I like good abilities. I like abilities that do something right away. And this is Battle Cry and Death Rattle, Recruit a Beast. And Recruit a Beast means you're basically pulling the beast out of your deck and playing it. And it randomly chooses it, very similar to Rage, or Usarge, Rage Unbound. So it could pull Savannah Highmane out of your deck. But unfortunately, a lot of the Hunter cards are very, very cheap. You look at Alley Cat, you look at Crackling Razor Maul, and stuff like that. What is the other one? A Jeweled Macaw. So there's like a high chance that you're gonna get not the greatest beast out of your deck. So this is like promoting a form of like basically big Hunter is what this is promoting. You want to play big minions, so when this first you play this 8/8 and you pull a King Crush, you know, you pull Savannah Highmanes, you pull just big fucking beast, man. And when it dies, if they don't silence it, it's gonna pull another big beast like King Crush, and stuff like that. Oh no, the Dread Swamp Dude, the 7 mana 9/9. So, but the problem is living long enough to play this guy. So it's, if Hunters are going to receive some sort of early game, maybe. Like, they basically need a 1 mana. They need basically Sir Finley Murkleton. You need to be able to pay 1 mana, change their hero power to a more defensive hero power, and now we're shaking and baking. You know what I'm saying? But when you can't change, like, the Hunter hero power is so linear. Like, it does 2 damage for 2 mana. Does that help you gain board control? No. Does it help you gain card advantage? No. Does that help you live longer? No. It doesn't do anything other than kill your opponent faster, which is why the Hunter has always been a aggressive / mid-range deck. It aims to kill you because its hero power revolves around killing you. But if you look at Mage, Mage can kill minions with its hero power, or it can go face, which allows it to clear the board. If it can clear the board, it can make more of a control game. You know, Paladin follows the same thing. It adds a minion to the board, and that's board control. Well, a form of board control. So, how good is this card? Not very good. If Big Hunter is a thing, it's going to be good. So if we can make control / Big Hunter a thing, this card is going to be good. If we can't, this card is going to be bad. Moving on to this next one. This is I'm looking forward to this card right here, and I'm gonna actually go back and remove, because I can see like the other cards in the background here. There we go. Lesser Mithril Spellstone. This card is super cool in my opinion, and I really hope Control Warrior is a thing. Really hope some form of fatigue. Right now the Fatigue Warrior is a thing, but it's not very fun to play, and it takes way too fucking long, and I'm not playing that shit. The old Control Warrior had a fatigue plan, it had an outvalue plan, it had a burst plan. Depending on what opponent you went against, you had a different game plan, and you had to execute it correctly in order to win the matchup. And if you misplayed even just 1 turn, it'd mess everything up. So this card, 7 mana, summon 1 5/5 Mithril Golem, equip a weapon to upgrade this. So as you equip weapons, and this card is in your hand, it's going to upgrade this card. I think it's in your hand. I don't know. It could be in your deck or in your hand. Pretty sure it has to be in your hand, but we'll see. I haven't played with the card yet, and they probably mentioned it, but I wasn't listening in that part of the stream. Regardless, card is good. Well, card has potentially be good. When you play a weapon, it's going to upgrade it, and then it's going to be a 7 mana summon 2 5/5 Mithril Golems, and as you upgrade it once again, it's going to summon 3, and I believe it stops at 3. That's how all of the cards that have an upgrade mechanic have gone so far. They've had 3 renditions, with the last one being the most powerful of summoning. Basically, a 7 mana 15/15 is what you're getting out of this in response to 3 5/5 bodies. If they have taunt or not, obviously they don't have taunt. Well, they could have taunt. I don't think it would say summon 1 5/5 Mithril Golem. Golem has taunt. So we'll have to see what the Golem is. The Golem may have taunt. I don't think so, but that would be really good. If the Golems have taunt, this card is definitely going to be it's going to have a playable form to it in some deck or another. If the Golems don't have taunts, I still think it's going to be playable. We'll have to see. I'm hoping that we get some form of big warrior. That would be a really cool deck to play, because we have the 6 mana, and it's like we had reviewed it already. It's recruit a minion out of your deck. So if we can play some form of big warrior, we already have some form of cards to pull giant minions out before they're supposed to come out for 6 mana, and this is going to follow along with that. Summoning a bunch of giant minions is going to be pretty cool. So We'll see if we can make big warrior thing for sure. The next one, level up Paladin card. Give your silver hand recruits +2/+2 and taunt. If anybody remembers the Quartermaster deck, Quartermaster was a 5 mana 2/5, I believe. Give your silver hand recruits +2/+2. So this is a 5 mana spell. So you're actually not getting the body, but it's giving them 2/+2 and taunt. So was taunt worth not getting a 2/5? Not sure, depends on the matchup, but either way, this card is good. A lot of people were spamming like Dust's card. This card is bad. It's not, it's not gonna be playable. Quartermaster was playable in mid-range Paladin, and it was fucking disgusting. So this, and it also, if you think of like Ivory Knight can now generate you this. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of tools to generate more cards like level up in your deck, and Ivory Knight's going to heal you for 5, and is Ivory Knight? No, it's going to rotate out next expansion, so Ivory Knight's still here. But either way, this is a really powerful card. I think mid-range Paladin or some form of silver hand recruit Paladin it can be a thing now, because it really only needed this. Before it had Quartermaster, it didn't even have stuff like the Vine Cleaver and thing. It didn't even have this Steglodon card. It's like a 4 mana 3/4. Adapt your silver hand recruits. It was just Quartermaster back then. It was Muster for Battle and Quartermaster, and that's in Justicar. 3 cards made mid-range Paladin very, very powerful. So level up, going down the same path. I have high hopes for mid-range Paladin with cards like this being printed, especially with the cards that we have right now, Vine Cleaver and the Steg Dude. I think it's gonna be chilling. And the last card we're going to talk about is the Rune Spear. This is the Shaman legendary weapon. It's 8 mana 3/3, so it fucking sucks in regards to its attack and durability for the mana cost. Like, holy shit, is this thing fucking wet little wet noodle. So we're like, all right, let's read the ability. Let's see what we're clicking here. After your hero attacks, discover a spell, which means you can pick from 3 spells and cast it with random targets. I don't like the word random. That's one of the things I don't like the most out of almost any card is the word random. If it said like Ysera's random is it generates 1 out of like I think 5 or 6 options. So you can kind of play around that the best you can. There's 6 options it could be, so it's not as random. But this is completely random. It could be any of the spells. So their argument was when they were talking in the card review today was basically that Shaman has a lot of spells that even if it's random, most of the time the effect is going to be pretty consistent. So if we look at cards like Devolve, it's always going to be on your opponent's side. We look at cards like Evolve, it's always going to be on your side. The Volcano, Lightning Storm, the new Shaman spell that we went over last time, like it wasn't Jade Sapphire, but I can't think of the name of it. But when we start playing with the cards, we'll have all the names remembered. But basically, Shaman has a lot of spells that don't actually have to target. They just do what they're supposed to do, and it's going to either just, substantially hurt your opponent, or it's going to buff your side. The problem is this 8 mana for a 3/3. If I'm hoping that I'm getting an evolve from this, which only costs 1 fucking mana, why am I paying 8 mana for a 3/3 that's gonna make me devolve my opponent, evolve my side, or use a Lightning Storm? Like, if we cast all those spells, we're talking like 6 mana. So I basically got a 2 mana 3/3 out of the deal. And that's just the chance that it's going to give me some cards that work well with the situation I'm currently in. Like, I don't know, man. Like, there also, one of the descriptions of this card was they basically, this whole expansion is supposed to be like D&D, like a dungeon-ish. And, this card is basically a weapon, and in the other hand, you're casting spells. So this is a weapon where you attack someone with a weapon, and then you're casting spells with your other hand. That's basically what he said. I don't know what I understand that in dungeons, mages can have a weapon in one hand and cast spells with the other. But this is Hearthstone, and I don't want to pay 8 mana for a 3/3 wet fucking noodle. And you classify it as a legendary. So I do not like this card at all. I don't like cards that say random. I don't like paying heavy mana cost for cards that say random. Like, I see what they were trying to do here, and I like it, but they could have done it better. You know what I mean? Like, I think they could have done the same exact type of thing, but done it just better with more consistency and not less randomness, you know, because eventually some people will play this and it will win them games because of sometimes the discover is going to be perfect. They're going to discover 3 volcanoes in a row and they're going to get 15 mana worth out of an 8 weapon plus the 3/3 part. It's going to happen sometimes, but it's not. With my RNG, I have no hope. So with that, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next card review. Again, if I happen to miss anything or anything you'd like to add on to what I've said, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about these cards and basically anything I might have missed. So with that, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Of course, I'm Robert Warshak, and happy whatever the hell day it is.